the Health Minister Jennifer Carroll MacNeill, who has told Clare's Oireachtas members, as you've been hearing in our news bulletins this morning, that the development of a new hospital with an emergency department in the Midwest will be progressed in conjunction with other approved measures. Minister Carroll MacNeill has met with TDs and senators from this region after confirming that all three options recommended by HIQA's review of emergency care capacity in the Midwest has been accepted. Government have approved the plans. It means the government will begin work on expanding capacity at University Hospital Limerick, extending the UHL campus to a second nearby site, and developing a new Model 3 hospital with an emergency department in the region in the new year. Joining me to react to the news are Deirdre Culligan from Friends of Ennis Hospital and Hilary Tonge, founder of the Midwest Hospital Campaign Group. A very good morning to both of you. Thanks for coming into the studio this morning.
Morning, Alan.
So Deirdre, what's your initial reaction to this news? The option A, option B and option C, all systems go.
Positively optimistic.
Not even cautiously optimistic, positively.
No, positively optimistic, yeah. I don't think she could very easily have put C off on the long run and left it for future reference, and she didn't. So having the three going in tandem is actually a positive step in my view anyway.
Yeah, and I suppose just on that, Hilary, when Minister Carroll MacNeill met with the Midwest Oireachtas members recently, and we did pose that question that on the face it seemed more enthused about, option A and B definitely, but option C was, she said, a live option, but it was just maybe a concern that there was a potential for it to be put on the long finger. So do you welcome this news and what she has said, that it will be progressed in conjunction with the other approved measures, that it's not just a live option, it is going to be progressed?
Can I just say before I answer that, I just want to mention two people. Martin Abbott, who died today 6 years ago in UHL tragically, and Aoife Johnson, who died on the 19th of December tragically in UHL. And just to remember them, because that's why we're here. That's the reason why the Midwest Hospital and Friends of Ennis Hospital are here today, because of what has happened in UHL up to now. So the Minister's announcement... basically, it doesn't give any meaningful or credible response to the crisis in UHL.
But sorry, Hilary, is it not meaningful that is it not a meaningful response that they are going to progress all three options? I mean, that sounds pretty meaningful to me, certainly. And Deirdre's nodding her head there.
Yeah, I think that what the framing it as a blend of the three options. I mean, HIQA was very clear. HIQA said UHL overcrowding cannot be solved by expansion alone, and they warned that continuous reliance on the site causes risks. And what option A has done really is just increased the amount of beds in UHL. It has done literally nothing for the bottleneck, which we are all aware of.
Will it help, though, that the government is also exploring potentially relocating or decanting services from University Hospital Limerick to other hospitals, which would surely, I imagine, would take considerable pressure off it? It
won't relieve the bottleneck in the emergency department, and that's what we've always said. We need a new emergency department, and option C, which was the new emergency department, seems to me kind of effectively kicked down the road, because there's no site, there's no location, there's no timeline, there's no funding commitment or a pathway to planning. So it's not really progress, it's just political deferral.
Yeah, just to bring you back in on that, Deirdre, do you see that as being a potential issue for the progression of a Model C hospital, that there maybe difficulties in finding a suitable site?
No, I don't. I think they've been given up. She has been given options. She didn't discuss them, as she said, due to commercial liability.
Sensibilities.
Sensibility. And from my understanding is there has been funding. Funding will be made available. They're not going to give her the go-ahead to go for the three options unless the funding comes with it. Anybody I know, I have heard that yesterday, the question of that it's not allowed, but I think myself, they're not going to say yes, go for A, B and C without putting the funding behind it. They have to do that.
Yeah, to be real egg on the face to kind of be
to turn around and say, well, we're not given the
green
money
light
for it,
and then have to turn around.
Exactly. So, like, positively thinking and logically thinking, the money is there for it and will be given for it.
Okay, what your response to that, Hilary?
Well, I haven't heard about the funding up till now, and from what I've heard, option A is going ahead, so that just increases beds in UHL on a very, very constrained site. Option B is a surgical hub with no ED, and there's vague promises about that. There's exploration was used, decanting services, no guarantees, no deadline, no transparency, and no firm commitments.
Well, how significant then is the pledge to expand capacity not only at UHL itself but also at regional hospitals like Ennis, Nina and St John's?
Model 2 hospitals will never have an ED. So basically you're just and at the moment Ennis is at capacity. I don't know where they're going to actually put these beds. Are they building a new building to put the beds into, or I mean, there again...
Well, we know the 196-bed block has been open and the other, I think, 2028 they're talking about, in UHL, yeah.
Model 2 hospitals can't compensate for an ED.
Deirdre?
Well, Model 2 hospitals don't have an ED, and in order to put an ED into a Model 2, you would have to have different departments like cardiology, radiology, different departments that then you would lead on to an ED. My understanding of option B is, while initially it's going to be, we'll say, bed capacity, that it's going to be built on. For different departments are going to be added on to the leading to an ED in there as well.
Hilary, the fact that you've heard that there is funding in place, but I suppose you would, I presume, be more welcoming of the blend of the three options. From a Clare perspective, though, the Minister says that the development of this new hospital with an ED in the Midwest will be progressed in conjunction with other approved measures. I guess the question people here will have, and particularly out the west of the county, will be where in the Midwest will this hospital be built? Well, I suppose when will it be built, but where will it be built, given the lengthy journeys they have to make to UHL, and if it's a pretty serious medical emergency, that can create its own difficulties.
Absolutely. I mean, HIQA has acknowledged this, that we waited for the HIQA report. The HIQA report was what everything is based on, and the HIQA report acknowledged this, the government acknowledged this, and this announcement avoids the one decision that would fix everything, which is build a Model 3 hospital with an ED. That's the end goal here. And there's no commitment with that. And even today, we heard on the radio, it might be in a certain length of time. But we need this commitment now. The people of Clare need this now. There's a trolley crisis now.
Well, she has said that the development will be progressed in conjunction with the other approved measures, and it will take time. They talk about 2031. I mean, it is going to take a few years to build a new hospital.
Exactly, it's not going to happen overnight.
She did say 420 beds across the region by 2031, and that's not a solution to the crisis right now.
How realistic do you think that is, Deirdre, to reach that number by 2031?
The way they're planning at the moment, I think, she has her figures. It is doable. But, I would say to Hilary, she has committed to a Model 3 hospital in the region.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose she can't get stronger than that at the moment. Yeah.
Still no timeline.
She gave a timeline of 10. When pressed yesterday, she did say 10 to 15 years. Again, people are saying, God, that's a long time. In reality, and realistically, it's not a long time, because the sites that she has on her desk, they have to be examined, right? They have to be approved. They have to be bought. Every step takes time, and we're not stupid. We saw where the second block of 96 beds ended up with on board Planola.
And I appreciate that. I guess if you're listening to that timeline and you're someone who has, reoccurring medical issues or a serious health scenario that requires you to visit UHL on a regular basis, hearing that you'd be despondent, and also, okay, the reference point that's often brought up is the National Children's Hospital, which is a far, far bigger project than a Model 3 hospital would be, Hilary. But that doesn't mean, that there isn't potential for this to be delayed as well.
Absolutely.
Beyond 10 to 15 years.
Absolutely. I mean, we need implementation right now, because it's just procrastination at the minute, isn't it? I mean, seriously, this announcement is great news if this was all planned in advance. We're talking about 17 years in Clare waiting for an ED. We're now talking about that's 27 years that people of Clare have to wait for an ED. That's way too long. We've known about this crisis, as has the Minister and the government and the TDs. We've all known this. This is not something that just came out of the blue. Oh God, we better build a new hospital. This has been going on, and it'll be.
And it is too long, but I suppose at least better late than never. At least there's a commitment now to progress it. And as Deirdre says, you have to expect it to take some time. That it's not going to appear overnight.
The government broke this. And we have waited 17 years for them to even attempt to fix it. We need all our Clare Oireachtas TDs on board to get a hospital in Clare for the people of Clare. Not have one on social media saying yesterday's announcement was false hope. That leaves 2 of the 3 in government pushing for the hospital. We need the 3 that are in government pushing for the hospital in Clare.
Do you think there'd be concern in Clare that we do, and we're going to get a second, a new Model 3 hospital with an emergency department, but that it could end up in Limerick? Or will people here welcome that? At least it is another option, albeit for, if you're, I reference West Clare again. You're still going to be dismayed by that.
I think myself, if it was anywhere other than Clare, the people in Clare would be totally disheartened. The whole thing, like, we are totally abandoned back here. Travelling from Loophead to UHL is no joke. If you are travelling from Kilrush to UHL, it's no joke, because it takes an hour, 10 minutes to go, and then to get parking is another hour. I said there that I had my husband at the hospital last week. I dropped him at the front door. The man is on oxygen. I was lucky he could actually go in himself, because there was no way I could have stopped and put him into a wheelchair and brought him in, because there was no place for me to park.
Do you think, Hilary, people in Clare will struggle to be positive about the development of a new Model 3 hospital if it ends up in Limerick?
Yes, of course. I mean, we've heard all the tragic stories. We've heard the tragic stories of people waiting hours for ambulances, including people in Limerick. A woman who broke her hip waiting 5 hours on the ground for an ambulance at 18 minutes away from UHL. So even the people in Limerick see the overcrowding in UHL and know that a hospital outside of Limerick would stop this, would automatically stop the overcrowding in UHL. And yet we're still sitting here 17 years later with no plan. We need action right now.
The timeline for the hospital, as Hilary's touched on, clearly not happy with that, Deirdre. The timeline mentioned from now until 2031 for implementing all the planned expansions and extra beds, is that fast enough for the region while we await a new Model 3 hospital?
They're already in progress, so it's not that it's something that we're waiting to start.
Yeah, it has begun.
Started. Yeah. So,
but are you confident that it will? Yeah. All of that will be done by 2031, including the new 96-bed block with 2028?
Yes.
Okay. What would you like to see happen next to ensure these plans translate into real improvements for patients? And in terms of accountability, what can groups such as your own do to keep the pressure on the Minister and the government that particularly the progression and development of a new Model 3 hospital happens as soon as possible, and that we don't see any potential delays like we can tend to see with infrastructural projects of that type?
I think they have to have learned lessons from the Children's Hospital. I think they know what obstacles are there, who to give the contract to. That's not going to keep asking for money. I think myself, if I was given the contract and if I was the Minister for Health in the morning, God love them, they'd hate me, because I would put a clause in that for every day that they ran over, they owed me money.
Hilary, Midwest Hospital campaign will be keeping the pressure on to ensure that this hospital happens sooner rather than later.
Well, we'll continue to demand full parallel implementation, and that was the whole thing with HIQA. These three options have to go together. So A, as started before this, B, the surgical hub. It still does not stop the overcrowding in UHL. A surgical hub is not an emergency department. So we're still sitting here waiting for option C, and we need timelines now.
Okay, we do have to leave it there. My thanks to the founder of the Midwest Hospital Campaign Group, Hilary Tonge, thank you, and from Friends of Ennis Hospital, Deirdre Culligan. Deirdre, thank you as well.